Well, good evening. It is Monday Night Live. My name is Paul. This is PKS Runs, and we're actually a minute early. And there are some of you that are already here, which is super exciting. I'm going to see if I can get the live chat up so that I can actually chat with you folks. How are you doing? Whilst I find the chat, do introduce yourself in the comments. Um, I've tweaked my lighting a little bit this week. How do you feel about it? Got some pink vibes, some blue vibes, yellow vibes. Yeah, all the colors of the rainbow. Tonight we are gonna chat about running. I'm gonna answer any questions you've got. We're gonna chat about Valencia. It is literally um, under 3 weeks. Under three. Oh my goodness. I mean, under 3 weeks. There we go. I can't even count. Paul, good to have you back. How you doing? How's your training going? Oh, have you started the taper yet? Or are you starting next week? I haven't quite started the taper, but in my mind, I'm mentally kind of feeling like, yeah, taper is now on. I'm so tired. So freaking tired. Um, so, welcome to those of you who are new to Monday Night Live. It is possibly the best entertainment that you could have on a Monday night. Currently, what else could you be watching? The One Show, I guess. Um, oh, you're feeling good. You've started your taper. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, you could be watching The One Show, could maybe EastEnders. That's a bag of shit. So, this has got to be better than EastEnders. Um, Oh, good. I'm glad you're feeling good. I'm glad you're feeling well. Taper, yeah. Officially, I guess I kind of am on my taper. Realistically, I'm dropping 15 or so kilometers on what I did last week. So I'm going to be aiming to do about 120 kilometers. I did 136 last week. I did 140 2 weeks ago. I had that kind of like down week in between. So I think it's fair to say, I think we are definitely tapering. Let's just call it a taper. Tomorrow morning, I am going to be doing 5 lots of 1K intervals with 1K easy in between. Last week, I was doing like 10 reps of 5K or 5 minutes at marathon pace. So I think actually tomorrow's workout is going to feel pretty cruisy. I'm super excited about that. So, I can see there's two of you in the chat. Have we got Cosmin in this week? Paul, you're number one. What's your mileage at the moment? What's your kind of complete total volume of miles, Paul? Interested to know. God, I feel excited about the answer here. Was literally just looking actually at my EasyJet flight details because at the moment I've only got a little backpack carry on, and I'm wondering if I'm going to need more than that. Really hard to tell how much stuff to take. I'd quite like to take my like massage gun and compression boots, but at the same time, I obviously wouldn't be able to fit those in a hand luggage thing. So yeah, I need to figure out. I was being an absolute cheapskate when I booked my flights and didn't pay for luggage or even like a large carry-on bag. So you've been doing up to 50K weeks. Okay, so is that including your long run? I'm guessing so. Yeah. It'll be nice. So was that your peak? Was your peak at 50, or was your peak, um, or are you going down to 50? Anyway, we'll come back to that. Starting to think as well about kind of nutrition when in Spain. Interesting one. I guess there'll be lots of pasta available. I guess paella is pretty carby. I've talked about this before, probably on Instagram. I do suffer a little bit from like food anxiety when I travel, like not knowing what sort of food I'm going to be able to have. I'm staying in a relatively nice hotel, so I guess I'll probably be able to get some like stock standard foods. But yeah, always hate the unknown of like, what am I going to eat? I guess lots of potatoes, patatas bravas. Um, oh, okay. 2 weeks ago, did a marathon. That week was 100K. Okay, okay, that makes sense. Um, yeah, I almost did a full marathon distance in training about 3 weeks ago, and I ran it all through ChatGPT. And I was kind of asked the question, should I? And we had quite a long conversation. And in the end, ChatGPT said, no, don't risk it. Bizarrely, or not bizarrely, but interestingly, ChatGPT 5.1 is now released. And it now talks back to me in um, in my voice. Really, really confusing. I put a little work request in today. I said I need to write a script for a work video. Can you help me? And its first response was, yes, mate, I would love to help you. Very strange. Anyway, I do a lot of AI wrangling with my job, but we're not here to talk about AI. We're here to talk about running. So how did your marathon feel? I presume that you were fully fueled up, giving it everything. Was it a race or was it just a marathon distance training run? I think my longest was 2 weeks ago where I did 37 kilometers. I did 35 on Sunday this week just gone. And yeah, it's funny. It feels tiring, but then I'm running on like super tired legs, so I think it's gonna feel tiring. I am really looking forward to just not having super tired legs, which I think will be um, probably a few weeks away now after the marathon at some point. Thing to note: Black Friday sales are on. I picked up some alpha flies today at I think it was £100 off, more than £100 off in my Nike member thing as well. I had a £20 voucher, so £120 off. I had a gift card which I'd been saving. I got this for my birthday back in July. So I used this as well. And my alpha flies cost me next to nothing. So I feel like I've won the lottery today. Cornish Marathon went off marathon pace, 25K, slowed down to the end. We talked about this last week, didn't we? Oh no, was it there was someone else in the chat last week that is doing an ultra in Cornwall, which sounded absolutely crazy. Cornish Marathon. Where's that then? Is it Liskeard? Is that where you are? I don't know. My brain is mush at the moment. I feel like someone's in Liskeard. Maybe it's you. Big fan of Cornwall. How do you do a cream tea? Yes. Excellent. I'm glad. I'm not as stupid as I think I am. Would you do jam first and cream on top? Or would you do cream and then jam? I used to be like religiously jam on top with clotted cream on top so that you can literally like massively stack the clotted cream on top. I think that a cream tea is one of like God's greatest delicacies. I kid you not, I don't think there's anything that beats it. Recently though, and when I say recently, like in the last year, I don't think I've had a cream tea for a long time. I'm going to put a note to self to have one post marathon. Um, I quite enjoy putting the cream down first and then the jam on top. But the difficulty with doing it that way is you have to have a very flat base if you want to be able to cover the whole thing with jam. Whereas the scone provides a perfect flat base that you can put the jam on, and then you can just dollop cream on top like a great big horse shit. I don't know. I'm not the cream tea expert. Paul, do you like a cream tea? Is it a Paul thing? Maybe it's just a me thing. I don't know. Um, Now then, who else have we got in here? I keep on seeing people. I can see at the top there are some other people in here. Who else have we got in here? Where are you from? Greg, did you manage to join the call? You said that you might. I'm hoping that you are through your tiredness, and also hoping that you found your phone. So this week's running plan is tomorrow morning is going to be the 5 lots of 1K at interval pace off 1K easy. Then Wednesday, I will do my rest day. Thursday, cream, then jam. Yeah, okay. Then Thursday will be, I think, tempo. I think it's 10 minutes at tempo. I'm going back into my official Ben Parks training plan just for these last 3 weeks because I think I've had a bit of a tendency to drill myself a little bit hard during the week, and then when it gets to the weekend, I don't have enough in the tank to do really, really good marathon effort. So this weekend, I want to have enough juice in the tank that I can do 16K as part of a 26-kilometer run at marathon pace, 16K at marathon pace. So we'll see how we get on with that. I'm really hoping that I can nail that run this weekend, if I'm honest. Yeah, cream then jam. I guess if you can get the right base layer, I guess it's all about building the base. I want to go on your first run today. Where to start? Honestly, best advice here is just start by getting changed. I know that sounds really stupid, but just get some clothes on. Doesn't matter if you've got the right gear, just get something on. Get out of the front door, walk a little bit, walk a little bit faster, and then go into a slow jog. You don't need to go far. My very first run, which was when I was, if you take out like having to do cross country at school, which I hated, being in sports teams at school and hating that, I actually opted to play golf in the end as my school sport so that I didn't have to run around or anything like that. My first run, I think I ran to the end of my road and back, which was, I can't remember if it was a kilometer each way or if it was a kilometer in total. Either way, it took me 20 minutes. I was sweating like a pig. So, Jonathan, I would just say, just get out there and give it a try. You don't need to go very far. You don't need to go very fast. My general advice for new runners is just if you can breathe, if you can talk, you're probably going about the right pace. If you're really struggling to talk, if you're really struggling to breathe, you're probably just pushing yourself too hard. If you've never done a minute's exercise in your life, it might be hard to do that anything slower than a fast walk. But I'm here for you. I think we're all here for you. Or couch to 5K. Absolutely. Never done that, actually. Never done that. I do not listen to my own running advice. There's been a couple of times where I've like literally not run for an entire year since I started running, got quite overweight, got completely out of exercise, and I end up just like trying to push myself straight in for the 5 miler. I think couch to 5K is a really, really good systematic way of starting out with walk, jog, slight recoveries. My mum, who is older than me by quite some way, if I'm honest. She did it, I think, about 10 years ago, and I don't think she finished it, but she did get to a point where she was able to run for a couple of kilometers, and that is really impressive. So, yeah, go out there, give it a try. I think there are loads of apps on the App Store. You don't need to, get a coach or anything like that. Just get an app. Uh, or talk to ChatGPT. GPT 5.1 will be super kind to you, call you mate, be super encouraging, and tell you lots of lovely things. Um, Jonathan, whereabouts are you based? Are you here in England? I'll let you think about that. The second question, second thing that I'll ask is, have you got something bright and reflective? You're in the US. Oh my goodness! So that means officially we're a global audience. Whereabouts in the US? I am very much looking forward to coming across to Texas in January, end of January, San Antonio, there for a week with work. Big fan of Texas just because it's warm. Also, huge fan of kind of Texas barbecue vibes. So, yeah, whereabouts? What is your opinion on stretching and gym? Love this question. Let's wrap up the US. So I'm guessing, yeah, barbecue rules. Yeah, it does. I went to. We'll come on to the gym and the stretching. Let's just do a little section here on food and East Coast Virginia. East. Oh, okay, so Virginia is that above North Carolina? Would that be right? Don't think I've ever been to Virginia. Um, I yeah, with my job, I tend to kind of go to conference type areas. So I actually went to North Carolina. I've done stuff in New York and Chicago, Philadelphia, Denver. Never anything in Virginia. I don't even know if I could name a city in Virginia. Vegas. Not been to Vegas for a work trip. Did go to see you two play at the Sphere 2 years ago next month. Had an absolute blast. Vegas was a lot of fun. I actually ran a half marathon in Vegas the weekend, the day after we landed. We stayed up all night and walked the strip, not actually drinking because I was doing this half marathon. And it was the only race that I've done that I did not finish. And I took my GoPro, I recorded a whole load of video, and I never made the video because it broke me so much. Um, Richmond, Virginia. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that was Vegas. I was there for 3 days. Formula One in Vegas. Yes, that would be amazing. That would be so cool. Yes, Richmond Marathon was just that, and it inspired me to try running. I love that. Honestly, I love that. I think the number of people, so, I've been running on and off for 18 years. The number of people that have reached out to me through Instagram or through YouTube who have said, "Oh, I saw people running X marathon. It super inspired me." Weirdly, a whole load of my wife's colleagues have started following me on Instagram, and a couple of them have got into running because they've just felt inspired to get started. So I love the fact that you've seen a marathon and you, that you're giving it a go. I met a guy in a bar, not a bar actually, an amazing pizza restaurant in Cincinnati earlier this year who had seen some people out running and made him sign up for his local marathon, which he did. I can't remember when it was now. It was about a month or so after London. And yeah, I just love the fact that he obviously felt inspired and got it, got it done. Favorite American marathon? I'm holding the gym question in my mind. I've never run an American marathon, so I did this half marathon in Vegas. It was like a small parochial. I think there might have been 50 entrants. It was so tiny. Chicago. Yeah, I would love to go and run Chicago. I would love to run any of the American marathons, quite honestly. I think, weirdly, I think the Disney Marathon looks quite fun. Would love to do Chicago, would love to do New York. Those are kind of bucket list marathons, realistically. Um, I think I've got, assuming that I can get anywhere sub 3 hours pretty much, because I'm in my mid 40s. I should have a good enough time to qualify for most of those races. They're just super expensive and they never seem to line up with work conferences. What I need is an American conference that in the market research industry that lands at the same time as a work conference. Boston, definitely. Yeah, so 2:45 was my time last year at Loch Ness. If I get 2:40, which is what I'm training for, then Boston absolutely should be on the cards for my age group. I don't know what the actual cutoff for my age is, but I was having a sneaky look at all of the kind of the qualifying times for the Abbott series, and I think the Boston for my age group's like 2:55. It, touch wood, I don't have any. Got my guitar over there. Touch wood, I will get under 2:55 easily. But we'll see. Yes, 20 days until Valencia. Scuba, Scuba Sean. Yeah, okay. Oh my goodness, had a real brain fart. I presume you're running Valencia. I am super excited about it. Super excited. Under 3 weeks. Going to do a shakeout run 10 a.m. on the Saturday morning at pretty much just by the start line or the finish line in the kind of the park along the river. You can find that in Strava and you'll find all the details there, but can send those to you as well. Right, gym and stretching. This is a big one. I massively think that strength training has been a huge part of my development as a runner over the last 3 years. So I ran Manchester was my first marathon 2.5 years ago. So April, whenever that was, almost 3 years ago. I did no strength training before that. I moved to Somerset 2 summers ago, joined a gym because I just wanted something else. I was reading that strength training was really good. I got into a really, really good routine of strength training Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The gym that I go to only does exclusively group PT. So you go at a certain time, you go to a class, and you are doing heavy lifting, about 40 minutes of work on a Monday is anterior focus, back. Is that posterior? Oh, shit. I'm actually training slowly, very slowly. I am actually doing my PT training via correspondence course. Apparently, I probably need to go back to the beginning. But anyway, we train the back, we train the front on a Wednesday, and on a Friday, we train posterior. Yeah, that's right. Back is posterior, anterior at the front, and then we do full body. So I got into a really, really good place where I was doing 3 sessions a week and lifting heavy. And at that point, probably up until when I started training for London at the start of this year, almost all of the running that I'd done had been easy running. So low heart rate, aiming for 104, under 140, kind of not doing any intervals, sprints. Occasionally I would, but there was no real structure to it. During the London block, I added in 2 additional days, which are kind of like health, kind of like like high impact interval training, high intensity rather, like rower, ski erg, lots of fast movements, squat jumps, burpees, all of that sort of stuff. So I was doing those as a sort of a talk class as well. And what I realized coming into the London block was my legs were permanently screwed. My easy pace was struggling to get anywhere over, or rather under, like 9-minute miles. I was really having to work. I was like 1 run a week. I felt like I had anything in me under 9-minute miles. This time, and I was lifting heavy. I was, really going for it. Like every week, almost trying to PB, like how much can I deadlift? How much can I squat? Every movement, it's like, can I go heavier? Can I do one rep more? What I was doing was running straight after the gym, because I do my gym at 6:30 in the morning. I would then run straight after, just so that I've got all of my exercise done in one block before I start work. In the evening, I'm around at home to be with family. I watched a really interesting webinar that Nick Bester ran, actually, with I think an Australian physio slash coach slash strength expert, who talked about, yeah, if you want to improve as a runner, you need to lift heavy, but there's a caveat. If you're going to do it, you need realistically 10 to 12 hours of recovery between running and lifting for the hormones to return to normal. Lifting and doing a sprint workout on the same day, absolutely fine. And in fact, you can reduce your DOMs the next day if you've done all of the hard work in one day. You just can't do them right next to each other, because your legs are going to be absolutely screwed directly after exercising. So this block, I have completely changed my relationship with the gym. So I am only going on a Monday and Friday. I've skipped Wednesdays now for the last few weeks, so that Wednesday can be a complete rest day. No workout whatsoever. Last week I actually did do it on Wednesday. You have to watch the video to find out why. And in those workouts, I have, been doing resistance, but much lighter weight. So not kind of lifting to failure, only really kind of lifting to focus on mobility. Today, for example, one of the workouts was 40 meters of walking lunges with 20 kilos sort of weight on your back. I was doing it without the bag, but instead of just doing a straight lunge, I was then kind of like driving my hip up and my knee up to work on something that would benefit my running. So I've adapted. So, for example, today's workout was also included clean and press. At the moment, a clean and press isn't adding massive value to me. I don't like, it's only risking for me injury at this point. So instead of doing that, I was just doing a lightly weighted Romanian deadlift. I was really pausing down at the bottom so that I could get a really good stretch on my glutes and my hamstrings. My glutes and hamstrings are notoriously tight. I sit at a desk all day, working at a computer. I'm sat here in my office, and people that sit all day tend to have really, really tight hips. I have struggled with my adductors, so sort of the inside of my thigh. So I'm trying to do exercises that will complement that. For me, one day, full body for an hour across the last 20 days in marathon training. Yeah, I mean, cross training is brilliant. I think it's really, really good that. Um, I think alternating run days, I think is really smart as well. So, I mean, it's really interesting. I've been going for high volume, 100 plus weeks right from the beginning, 100 kilometers weeks. Really, that's actually pretty low volume in comparison to what elite runners do, but they do this full time, so they can do that. But part of this great group on Facebook, the Sub 3 Running Club or something like that. It's like 20,000 members or something. And there are a ton of runners on there that are running 240s, 235s, 245s, doing 40 miles a week. So, you know, I yeah, I mean, I just love doing high mileage. I do it for my mental health. I mean, that's the thing for me. This is all about my mental health. It just so happens that I've got fast, but the reason I go out and run is just to go out and be on my own and get away from life, think about stuff. Um, so for me, like, the low mileage doesn't really suit me, because I would really enjoy just being outside. I could see if I got a bike, um, I could go out and cycle, but in honesty, time versus fitness just doesn't feel like it packs that same punch. I do have a like a spin bike in my garage, which I've not used at all this training block. I was actually thinking, gosh, I should maybe use that these last few weeks just to add a bit of like zone 2, zone 3 training with zero impact on the joints. All of that stuff makes a difference. I was looking back at my taper for the London Marathon. I spent loads of time on the bike. Do I still run outside as much in the winter? Yeah, friggin' love it. Honestly, I genuinely, if it was snowing tomorrow, it would probably be the best run of the year. I absolutely love it. Put on a good pair of trail shoes so you can't slip around. There's something magical about running in the snow or the winter. Look, not going to lie, running in the rain is miserable. It's absolutely miserable. But I don't know. Something feels good when you come in and you're wet and yeah, when you've had a good workout. Jonathan, I'll come back to you in a second. Just to cover off the other bit of it, stretching. Paul, I think stretching is vital. Phil Maffetone talks about not stretching so that your muscles are like super tight. He talks quite a lot about that in like the trait, like, in warm up, you want your muscles to be really like rigid. I I call bullshit on that. I think you need to be supple. Flexibility is huge. I definitely am tight. I'm stiff. My calves are like rocks. Sports massage helps with that, but stretching helps. I always try and do things around the house. If I'm going to stand at the sink, I'll try and, engage bit of core, stick my bum out, bend over. um, I'd probably go down really well in a gay bar, I guess. But yeah, if there are any points where you can just involve movement, deep squats, rather than lean over to pick something up, squat down, like engage your legs, open your hips. I think there's loads of ways to make stretching a little bit more interesting than it is. Listening to stuff, great question. Great question. When I first started running, I used to always listen to music. I couldn't do it without music. It was back in the day. I had an iPod Mini, I think it was, and I think I had the concept of a power song. I had a playlist that I listened to on repeat because you could only really get one playlist on there, and I absolutely loved it. Recently, I am absolutely happy with the sound of silence. Really happy with it, with my thoughts. I love to think, I love to process. Um, you know, when I'm not training, I am taking my GoPro out and recording videos. Used to love doing the daily videos. I haven't been doing it recently because I've been focusing on the running. I listen to news podcasts, I listen to audiobooks, I listen to music. I have a really, really kind of varied taste. On one end of the spectrum, I like listening to really dark, or as I would say, filthy EDM, like electronic music. I also listen to like contemporary Christian music if I feel like I need something that's more uplifting. And yeah, then I listen to political podcasts if I just want to get completely depressed about the state of the world, um, or feel like I'm maybe on the right side of humanity. Um, Part of the benefit for you just being the benefit is just being with my thoughts. I do have a lot going on in my head constantly, so it just gives me the time just to kind of think. Sophia, welcome. Really enjoy running, but right ankle always hurts a lot. I tried to stretch for my runs, but it doesn't seem to work. Yeah, do you know what? Actually, stretching before you run isn't advisable. So what I think about like activation exercises, so things that are going to fire up the the joints, the muscles. So things like squats, really good. Going into squat jumps, uh, leg swings, little kind of toe taps. If your right ankle is hurting, um, then I'd probably be encouraging you to seek professional advice so that you can actually find out why that is. Is it a mobility issue? Is there a niggling injury? Have you had any past injuries? Perhaps there's some scar tissue in there. I when I get out of bed in the morning, I am like a newborn giraffe. It's like everything's like whoa, and it takes me quite a bit of time. I would actually say, and I've got these on my legs. So these, I don't know if you can see them, are Pulsio Tens pods. I actually now pretty much wear these non-stop during the day, and I just turn them off and on as and when I want them. But I put these on about half an hour before I go for a run on my calves. It kind of twitches the calves, which stimulates muscle activation and gets the blood pumping to that part of the body so that so that they're warm. um Part of, I used to be a serial just start running, and you kind of like, oh my goodness, every first step just feels horrible. And actually you can do a lot. Just do 10 little pogo jumps up and down. I won't do them in here because it's like a little outdoor cabin type thing and the whole room will shake. um Also, I've got calf sleeves on, and do you know what? I'm not afraid of my showing you my calf sleeves. Hang on a minute. Here I am. There we go. You can see my hip flexibility there. Not very good. But anyway, I'm not going to jump up and down. I often, in terms of like the recovery, having some calf sleeves on during the day does just again, compression is super good. If you've got ankle problems, just a little bit of mobility could be to do. I mean, there are so many reasons you might have sore ankles. That's the reality. I wouldn't want to diagnose it, but I would. I think probably when you've been running for a long time, you know what is an injury and what is a niggle. You start to get to know your body. 30, I don't know, 30 pounds for a 30-minute sports therapy session probably would do it. They would be able to identify what it is. And there'll be loads of little exercises. If you've got like a band, you could probably just do a little banded sort of stretch out of your legs again, just to activate the muscles around your ankles. One thing I would say is if you are having problems with your ankles, it's probably also just a bit of weakness around the ankles. Best thing you can do is stand on one leg, close your eyes, and just try and balance. And your ankles will wobble around like this. And as you're doing that, you will be building all the little muscles and ligaments that are needed to strengthen your ankles. I've in my time done quite a lot of trail running, and when I first started, I would roll my ankles. I'd be out for like a month, 2 months, and an absolute nightmare. As time has gone on, my ankles have really strengthened to the point now where I can roll an ankle and kind of carry on running, and it doesn't cause me the problems that it has done in the past where it's like, oh my goodness, I'm out for 3 weeks. So there we go. We will run this one today until 8:15, because quite honestly, these days I'm getting into bed about 8:30. So I'm going to want to go up, have a warm cup of decaf tea or a hot cup of decaf tea, read a bit of my book. At the moment, I'm reading Ronnie O'Sullivan's book about running, which is really interesting. He's a fast runner. At the point that I am in the book, he's just run a 33-minute 10K. Incredible. Incredible. And he's pretty good at snooker. So, yeah. Any other questions? I'm enjoying this. I think this has been a good addition to the PKS Runs multiverse. the Monday Night Lives. Um, yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, I can do under that for a 5K, but 33 minutes, yeah, that's insane. It is really insane. I'd love to be able to do that. There's absolutely no way. Maybe if I train, I could. I feel like maybe I could. I would need to really, really train hard. And I think I'd need to be a little bit lighter, if I'm honest. I think weight, can of worms, weight does make a difference. How do you motivate yourself to get out and run when you aren't in headspace? Great question. Actually, do you know what? This is a great question. I actually said this morning on my Instagram story, I think it was. You don't have to have motivation. You just have to have discipline. So when I'm not in the headspace, I just try and get out and do it anyway. So I know that I led with, yeah, motivational music. I know I led with the get changed, but actually getting into the running gear is like it's the first step of the battle. Like there are little steps. You break the whole thing down into little micro steps. You go, okay, well, do you know what? I'll just get my running gear on. I don't have to, I don't have to go out and run. I'll just get my gear on and I'll see how I feel there. And a couple of years ago, I did a whole kind of run streak thing. I think I got to about 250 days and I got injured annoyingly. Um, and it would get to, I would, middle of winter, it would be 10 o'clock. I've just finished work and I'll be like, oh, I just don't want to do it. And my wife would say to me, just put your clothes on. Just and literally just run to the end of the road. You don't just go out and do 100 meters and then you can say that you have run. And you get out, and I think just getting out through that front door is the hardest part of it. So, um, yeah, David Hamilton, yes, it's hard, but we do hard things. Look, I don't think there has ever been a run that anyone has ever done that they haven't come back in from and gone, yeah, that was good. Even when they're hard, even when they're painful. The worst run, as you probably see on Instagram and motivational posters, the worst run is the one that you didn't do. Uh, but it's true. It is true. It's pithy, but it's true. I think, you don't have to have motivation, just have discipline. Find somebody to hold you accountable. When I was getting back into running 4 years ago now, a friend of mine actually, probably, it would have been around this time 4 years ago. A friend of mine was like, look, mate, you've not run all year. You need to get back into it. I signed you up for a half marathon. We're doing it together. And I was like, oh, okay. And every time that I had the temptation to not run, I would send him a message because we were close, and he would kind of come out and run with me. And I would say, hey mate, fancy a run this evening? And he would message back and he was like, ah, I was looking for a reason to not run, but I think we should go out together. And we did. So have somebody that will challenge you and make you get out is really good. Join a running club. I'm sure in Virginia there will be a ton of runners out there, of all levels. I think if you can find a group that will inspire you, uh, encourage you. We've got a local running group here in Bridgewater. Honestly, I can't think of anything worse than going out with a running club. I just like, yeah, just honestly, I'd rather just be on my own. But if you want to get out and just do it, just find a group of people, uh, and give yourself a treat when you come back. Reward yourself, make it worthwhile. Say, look, if I get out and do 1 mile, I'll come back in and I'll have a Mars bar or something. Maybe there's probably healthier choices out there. I hope that's helpful. But yeah, go out, do hard things, makes life more enjoyable. At the moment, when I get out of bed every day, I do not want to go out and run. I haven't experienced that for weeks now because I'm tired. Marathon training is hard, but I'm just like lace up, take a shit, have an energy drink, or rather like a pre-workout drink, which has got, the one I take has got like 230 grams of caffeine. Literally, my face is shaking by the time it's kicked in. At that point, you're like, I feel like I could run up Everest. So, there are loads of external stimulants that you can use to, help you get yourself in the zone. So, quarter past almost. Thanks so much for joining. Do go over and follow me on Strava. Jonathan, big tip, get on Strava, and you will find that is such a great motivation to get out and run, because you're racing against yourself. You can meet other people on there. That's really good. Follow PKS Runs on Instagram as well. That's going to motivate you for sure if you're not already following me. And look, let me know. Come back next Monday, same time, and let us know how you got on with today's run. I think that's the best form of accountability is, Paul, David, Sophia, whoever else has been, Sean in the background, everyone, we all want to know now. I think we're all invested in this. So come back next week and tell us how you got on. And guys, thank you so much. I am in the background, not in the background, not back there, but I am thinking about launching some little PKS Runs hoodies. So yeah, next week maybe I'll have some merch to sell. So ever the opportunist. And I said in last week's YouTube video, last thing I said in last week's YouTube video, that I would love to do running and do this full time, but realistically I need money. Last week I actually signed a contract for a paid video for a health brand that have been on my list forever. So super excited. Cannot say what. It's not actually technically running related, but it's a really cool piece of kit. And once they have sent it to me, I've got 5 days to record a video, and then they will pay me. I get to keep the gadget. Super exciting. So yes, next week we will have hoodies. We can all wear them together and live happily ever after. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Genuinely really enjoy this. I love talking about running. No one in my family wants to talk to me about running, so this is absolutely brilliant. Have a great week. See you soon.